Hi. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome, everyone. We are delighted to kick off the Majlis sessions on our first day. I'm Rima Sahibani, and I'm going to be your MC today. Before starting our session, let's begin with a brief introduction about Al Majlis. Al Majlis is inspired by our Arab culture settings, providing a sociable place that evokes the coziness and warmth of a living room chat. Here, our speaker will share and focus on their personal and personal story rather than their professional side. We encourage all of you to ask questions, engage, and share your own personal story and deepen your connection with the speakers. This marks as the opening of Al Majlis. We're going to start our first session titled as You Take the Next Step. We'll begin in just a few minutes. We will be discussing an important and significant topic that I personally find challenging. We will explore how to face uncertainty with courage, resilience, and growth mindset. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished guest for today, Ms. Nora Alotaibi. She's going to be our moderator. And Ms. Mathew Leong, and Dr. And then Mr. Mathew Leong, and Dr. Hakeem Jomah, and our last guest, Mr. Zubair Junjunia. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy.
Thank you so much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, welcome everyone. Nice to have you all here. Nice to have familiar faces here. Really hope that you're going to enjoy being among such superstars and impact influencers through their journey. And it's about time to see the other side, what's behind the scene. We know names, we know achievement, we know some stories. But I think we really need to listen what's behind the stories. What are the goals? What are the impact? What are the passion that drove them to be such very well-known, and regardless to the age, by the way. So first of all, we will take, please, the first thing we will, okay? Are we good? Okay. So we will start by a quick introduction, and then I will, okay? So please, Dr. Hakeem.
I'm Dr. Hakeem Jomah. I am an actor and a writer and a director, but more recently I'd like to call myself a Saudi cinema activist. And my main goal is to create and really hone a Saudi cinematic identity akin to your Hollywood. Yes, mic test is working great back there. And yeah, it's in this very fast sort of era of change, the one thing I'd love to retain in this new film industry is the Saudi cinematic identity.
Good to know. Zubair, please.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zubair. I am a social entrepreneur and also an activist, but an educational activist. I run an online learning platform called Znotes, which is all about addressing educational inequality and ensuring that every young person has equal access to learning resources, support, regardless of their socioeconomic background. And it's a Jeddah-born startup, which has now, alhamdulillah, reached over 5 million students, but I'll tell you about the story as we go through.
Nice.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Mathew Leong. I'm born and raised in Singapore. I've been in Norway now for the past 8 years. I'm a group executive chef of a 2 Michelin star restaurant, Reno, in Stavanger, Norway. And I do the bookie store, representing Team Singapore in 2021. Was the youngest ever. And we'll be participating in 2025 on the second participation in the World Championship, actually.
Amazing. Really nice to have you with us, all of you. And literally, I was like, when I was reading the names and finding out some of your stories, I was really impressed how, I mean, each story has its own of like kind of resilience, like kind of insistence, kind of courage. May it be in the Saudi film sector, may it be in the education and having equal opportunities, may be in such a for me, it's a skill that I cannot bear, literally. So it's really amazing. And allow me to start with you, Dr. Hakeem. The question is, I mean, your sector was in one dimension in Saudi Arabia and went to the other side. So let's see
بسم
how...
الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
وعليكم
أصحاب السمو
السلام
والمعالي،
ورحمة الله
الحضور الكريم.
وبركاته. I think it's
يسعدنا الآن أن نعلن لكم عن توقيع اتفاقية مذكرة تفاهم بين مدينة محمد بن سلمان غير الربحية وصندوق التنمية الثقافي.
You guys are getting it all today. Getting everything
all in
today.
one, all in one, yeah.
It's
Two
really
events
like-
in one.
Yeah. So let's
this
go
slide.
to the beginning and tell us how was your start and was it easy for you back then?
Back then. Like we're gonna say back then now. I'm originally a medical doctor in the trauma neurosurgery field. That was in the long, long time ago, before you can put the word Saudi and film together. That concept didn't exist for us. I come from a highly academic background. I'm sure a lot of us come from a highly academic background. So the arts were very secondary to
Exactly.
what we were doing. So most of our arts were consumed through Western media, and that's where we gained a lot of our cultural nuance. And you don't really think about it like that at that age. So me and a group of friends always had a fondness for cinema, so we wanted to make a film, and we ended up a crew of 6 people. We went up to Al-Ula, and we made a film called Madayan, which was a found footage horror film, and it was one of 3 films in Saudi at the time. There was Baraka Yuqabil Baraka, and there was Madayan, and then there was the third one, that's name I forget. Anyway, فجأة, I started submitting Madayan to festivals. We didn't have local festivals. I started submitting them to festivals, and then it started to get accepted in those festivals. And I saw that there was such a thirst for this part of the world. Cinema from this part of the world had such a huge market abroad.
Yeah.
But then, when Vision 2030 happened, that for me was sort of the final straw, where the direction the kingdom was going in, part of that direction was the film industry. And I felt like now is the chance to really be a part of creating that Saudi cinematic identity that was so wanted abroad, but we didn't know we needed it until we started getting it.
And what's amazing about that, how agile you were, how ready you were. I mean, this is a full of let's say technology and also know-how. How you weren't afraid back then, like I will start the movie and like...
We didn't know anything. Part of the
Really?
beauty of it is that we did not know anything. None of us had filmmaking backgrounds. None of us knew anything. We were editing the film with books in our laps, YouTube videos. We didn't know how anything was done.
Amazing.
But then when we started for, say, a show like Rashash, when we got a crew from abroad to help us tell our story. And it was a risk for us to make a show like that in the local space, because we didn't know how a Saudi audience would react to such a sensitive
Exactly.
topic. We didn't know, because there had never been anything like it done before. But once it was released, it ended up being the biggest show in the Middle East at the time, only because Saudis and people who were raised and born in Saudi could look at the screen and say, those people talk like us, those people look like us, I get this cultural nuance, I understand why he's doing this the way he's doing it. And then that's when it sort of really solidified for me, where people want this. They want to watch things that are culturally relevant in those small nuanced things. You can tell the story however you want to tell it. At the end of the day, Rashash is a story about Bolisu Harami, but it's
Yes.
told in a way that is us.
In a different way.
Yeah, it's told in a way that's us.
Exactly.
And that made me sort of shift my mind narrative from, okay, I don't want to just make movies, I don't want to just make shows. The Hollywood dream was immediately fizzled like that, where I'm like, I don't need to go there if this is what I enjoy watching, this is what I enjoy seeing. And that's sort of the background that I want to give to the younger filmmakers, even the audience, to sort of start accepting the Saudi content as viable content in the age of Netflix, HBO. We want to give them a reason to watch Saudi content, and the reason to watch it is we're great at doing it now.
Amazing. And also, that really reflects the time or the era that we're in. So the first lesson we learned from what we're hearing, and I've read an article that says, first of all, set a goal. And then you don't need to over-plan how I'm going to reach my goal. You will be learning within the journey. And I think this is one of the things that you have done, Zubair, as you were initiating a voluntarily platform that ended up with such 5 million people getting use of the knowledge there. So how did you start that? And by the way, is it okay to ask about your age now?
Yes, it's absolutely fine. I'm 26.
Oh,
And
me
you
too.
started?
Okay.
And
No,
you
I'm not
started?
26. I'm 10 years older than you are.
And I started
started-
when I was 16 years old.
Imagine.
And it's been in many ways, Dr. Hakeem, it was like very much like I set out because I saw a problem around me, and I had a very clear objective about what I wanted to do.
And-
I didn't know what the scale was going to be. I
And
didn't
that's
know
what, when you were studying here? Or?
I was. So I was
Yeah.
born and raised in Jeddah. I'm Pakistani, but I'm a Jeddawi. Any Jeddawis in the house?
Yes. Okay. A lot of Jiddawas.
We missed the Red Sea. I'm going to go back
Okay.
home soon. And I saw around me, even growing up in Jeddah, like there was such a difference in educational experiences for students. And as you will know, if you've gone through any education system, you get to the end of high school, and these exams that you take determine where you end up in life,
Yeah.
your career prospects, your university prospects. And unfortunately, the socioeconomic levels that you come up with determine your future. And my story and my family's story is so ingrained in the fact that education was the lever for social mobility. So I knew that it had to be something that I viscerally felt and I could see, and I had to make a change in. But again, Dr. Hakeem, as you said, it wasn't a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know that after graduating, this is what I'm going to be working on full time as a startup. It started off as a website, as a small blog, and I took my revision notes for the IGCSE exams, put them onto a website, and everything snowballed from there. Students from all over the world discovered it, started to use it and benefit from it. But I think the biggest thing was that students not only wanted to benefit from it, but they realized that this is another 16, 17-year-old guy on an online platform just sharing his resources. I can be part of this as well. I believe in this social mission. I can affect a change as well. And over the last 9 years, so I've been building for a long time, Znotes has had hundreds of students as contributors, as ambassadors, as interns, volunteering tens of thousands of hours because they believe in the social mission and because they can see that as young people, they can give back and make an impact. So everything that has happened to date has been bootstrapped. We've leveraged word of mouth. Students have shared it all over the world. But to come to your question, Nora, you said, what was the driver and what was the kind of the challenges in the journey? Well, now I'm, alhamdulillah, speaking and being in front of you today in this amazing forum in this beautiful city. But 6 years ago, I was still just sitting on a website and creating blogs and making sure things were up to date. No one was recognizing me. No one was applauding me, and it was okay. But the most difficult thing is that level of consistency and effort that you need to put in, the hard work, because it doesn't come easily. It doesn't come overnight. Now I get to talk about the scale of impact and the amazing number of people who are every day contributing and engaging with us, but it didn't start off like that. And I think one message that I'd like to share is for young people who are keen to start, or even people who are looking for a change, that it will not happen overnight, but consistent effort and hard work and an alignment to your vision and values, having a clear direction of what you want to do is going to set you apart. For me, it was always education and equality. I didn't know Znotes was going to be the way to do it. But, alhamdulillah, when it was getting to a stage where millions of students were using it, I knew that this was a pathway I need to stick to and I need to push as far as it can go.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So what's good, the experience itself shows how resilient you are and how you took the step and you were trying to give the benefit for everyone. And if you notice that we are having someone who's talking on the conceptual, the concept, the mindset, someone is talking about the education and how to impact, and we have the skills now. So how did the idea of starting your position or your career actually start, and in what age did you do that? I think I heard the very early stage, but
Yes. So first of all, I started falling in love with gastronomy and cooking, and at the age of 13 years old, actually.
amazing.
You know, it's illegal to work at 13, but
Yes. And
but you know, I love this the scene of gastronomy. I love the pressure in
and
the
how
kitchen.
did your mom allow you to come to near to the cook? You know, It
You know,
was-
first, of course, you know, in the Asian household, no matter how great a chef are you are always the guy who wash the pot and peel the potatoes and onions, you know. So till now, I'm still doing that. So I started 13 years old with a culinary contest in school. And back then, I don't even know how to fry a fish. And there's a lecturer who said, there's a competition coming up. Whoever want to join, raise your hand. And I don't know why. I just raised my hand and I joined.
Okay.
So after that, I won the first cooking contest, and then I fell in love with cooking because when you're younger, you win something. You're like, okay, I want to continue this. I want to go further in this.
Amazing.
And I followed this chef for 10 years from there, and he actually gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to actually come to the kitchen one day and to feel how is it working in the environment, in the high-pressure kitchen. And from there, I told myself, this is where I belong. So the courage of me going to Norway, a Singaporean guy going to Norway at the age of 20, 21 years old, because back then Singapore doesn't have the guide Michelin in Singapore. And as a chef, every young chef wants to work in a Michelin star restaurant to have an extremely good CV. So I was sending 500-600 CV a day, and finally I got Renault in Norway. And that's a calling, and that's how I went to Norway and started on my career there. And I know very clearly that I don't have enough money to buy the flight back, you know. So it's a one-shot thing. So you just have to make it happen. Take a belief in yourself, have faith, and work as hard as possible to prove yourself in a foreign country. It was a very hard road. I failed many times, but always remember to be the first one to enter the kitchen and the last one to leave, actually.
And it shows how the courage that you had as a young to start in that field, like starting from raising your hand.
Yeah.
It takes a courage, you know, especially in like cooking. Who's going to, okay, you didn't even hesitate. You just raise your hand and then you find yourself there. That shows that you were open and very straightforward. And then you even capitalized on that opportunity, which shows even a second courage when you decided to move to follow your dream.
Exactly.
And I think that reflects the same thing. Set a goal, and then you will find the way to it. Is it?
For me, you know, in life, everything is about a goal. If you have a goal, there's a light in front, and then you can actually follow the right direction. In life, you will be offset sometimes, but if there's a goal in front, no matter how you want to reach the goal, you'll always walk towards the direction. And I left Norway after 1 year working. I said, enough, you know, and I went back to Singapore. And I decided to go to Norway again, but with a bigger dream and a bigger goal.
Amazing.
So when I reached Norway the second time again, after 7 months, I told myself I'm going to do something history that nobody has ever done before, and I represent the country for the Bugis store in 2021.
Amazing. Very proud of you. Well, very proud of you. Keep on.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was the initiating, the starting point. Okay, now since every one of you had like time that from the moment you start until today. Now, if I want to ask about how can we just like, if I'm going to ask Dr. Hakeem, and doctor, you're a medical who like literally left the medical field to somewhere else. Like
My mom is watching, and she's gonna.
She's going
she
to
loves
pray
to
for you.
hear that all the time.
Believe me, I know you have created the impact as good as you have done there.
Inshallah.
So if I want to say, during this journey, what was the ultimate impact or goal that you have seen it in front of you that's happening? And you said, thank God I kept on doing that and I'm here, achieved that, let's say, impact.
Well, I think now the biggest impact I feel that is happening is the amount of support that local filmmakers are getting for their films. Before it was a very clear model where you would bring in foreign crews who were far more experienced than we were, obviously, but there was a very large keenness on having Saudis shadow those foreign crews, عشان we gain the skills from them. So everything from production design to sound design to everything you can imagine. Now we have locals who can do that stuff. So you have grants given by the government that mandate that you have at least 75% of the crew need to be Saudis. And now at the end of this month, you have the opening of the Red Sea Film Festival. And in it, you have 7 Saudi films that have gone to international festivals abroad in Cannes, Toronto, or Cannes, or the Venice Film Festivals. And that was unheard of before. Last year, this didn't exist. And now it existed because now you have those people that are willing to maybe push the boundary a bit in what you're willing to see in a Saudi show. So when you see a Saudi show or a Saudi film, you're very used to, oh, I'm going to see a very soap opera-ish kind of model. It's going to be overacted, it's going to be super campy, and it's going to finish. Now you have 6 films or 7 films that really tackle issues in society that we never thought we would be able to talk about before, and it's on a very public and large platform. And the best thing about it is you have an immediate feedback mechanism in Twitter, in Instagram, on Snapchat, where you can have people discussing those issues. Last year, and I'll close with this, last year we had a show that aired, and then on Twitter, it was a very controversial show about kidnap and stuff like that. So on Twitter, we suddenly had in Arabic, hashtag Stockholm Syndrome. When did we ever think that suddenly we would be talking and people sharing their stories on Twitter. They share like, okay, this happened to someone I know, and they talk about Stockholm Syndrome. So just like that, you open up discussion in a safe environment. The beauty of what we do is that you can provide generally unsafe topics in a very safe and controlled medium that opens the discussion, that eliminates the taboos, that obliterates people's, oh, I need to hide this, or I can't say this, or I can't say that, and suddenly you can, and that creates so much room for growth. Just the fact that you can talk about things now in a safe way, in a palatable and entertaining way, opens up massive potential for growth. And that has become, I would say, if there was any primary goal, stuff like that and moments like that I didn't know were important to me, and suddenly it became the most important thing in the world for me. Where, like you said, you have a goal, and then suddenly the goal shifted slightly to, okay, I want this now. I want us to be able to have the discussion. And I feel like through film and through media, that is the best way that you can say it in a way that is relatable, and in a way that doesn't make you feel alone, or doesn't make you feel like I'm the only one that is going through whatever it is you're going through, and have fun at the same time.
From your field, once my mom told me that, Nora, remember in life that the biggest investment ever would be in humans' minds and souls. So during having such a skill or having such an impact, it is really investing in humans' minds and soul, and I think you're doing it and keep on doing it.
Allah yasadik.
Okay, allow me to jump to the same question with you, Zubair, and then we'll. Okay, so what was within the journey of having the platform with having 5 million participants on it? So what was the biggest impact that you see today, in addition to the 5 million?
No, I think the 5 million is almost like a byproduct of something that's much more a philosophical mindset change. And
Amazing.
It's been hard to articulate for a long time, but what I really believe in is that our education system has created the wrong narrative for students. It has put students in a passive consumer role, that they can sit in a
Just
classroom
receiving.
and consume.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They're not engaged in any process. And what Znotes proves is that if you give opportunities to young people to do impactful things and develop their skills and contribute to society, they're willing to do it. All you need to do is a very key word, is empower them. You need to give them the tools and skills to empower them. And so the mantra that I share these days is that we at Znotes believe in changing the narrative of the education system from turning students from passive consumers to active creators and proponents of education. And this is beyond the 5 million mark. Again, the goalpost always changes. I didn't know how many students I'd be reaching. I didn't know, I ended up, not dissimilar to you, I was a very academic person. I went to London to study after my schooling in Jeddah. I studied a degree in mathematics. Up to master's level, I had an opportunity to do PhDs, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna stick to something where I can see the impact. So my degree is still there. It's probably adding value in different ways, but knowing that now that Znotes has the opportunity, not because it has hundreds of contributors or potentially millions of students using it, but the fact that it has the scale to reach not just millions, but tens and hundreds of millions of students.
And
that's what I'm completely hell-bent on doing, is to figure out how we can empower young people, not just for our British education system or this education, but actually for the whole world, global education systems, and particularly looking at the most under-resourced systems in the world. So why are we not talking about exam boards in West Africa, which have millions of students taking the exams, and yet you Google online, you find no resources. Even here, if you look at the number of Arabic resources provided compared to the number of English and Spanish resources, it's mind-blowing. And unfortunately, I'm sure many of you will understand, the language of Arabic is starting to water down. Our culture and our heritage and our beautiful language is now no longer being used in our day-to-day lives. And so it is so important that our societies protect themselves, and education is the fundamental kind of bedrock for this. So we are kind of completely committed to not just doing what we do, but actually trying to scale and localize, because now what we do is we're going to give the local community the power to make the change for their society. It's not going to be Zubair or Znotes. It's going to be Znotes owned by the Saudi youth, Znotes owned by the youth in Ghana, Znotes owned by the youth in India, and so forth. And that's how it scales. So empowerment is a key pillar to it. And I think it's taken me my 9 years of figuring it out and breaking stuff and failing many, many times. I broke the websites on multiple occasions. I had to refix it on deadlines and all these type of things. But getting to the stage of realizing that this empowerment vehicle is the way that we can make change at a global scale.
So again, Znote, your platform is showing the education, the information in regards to the curriculum, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's like targeting a larger impact and allowing kids to find the information their way until they found it. So good to know that. And again, back to the skill thing. Now, what was the most, let's say, impactful on a personal level or even on a larger level that you think that you have achieved until today?
I mean, for me, it's all about the impact is all about the inspiration.
Yeah.
This is
Exactly.
something very important, and the great mindset. So I always tell myself and believe in the three things: determination, discipline, and consistency. Actually, so if you have the determination to do something, and then you need to show the discipline to continue. Exactly. And every day you wake up, you cook the same thing again and again and again and again. You will never be the same as yesterday.
Really?
You
Not
will
the
never
same.
be the same. You will never. And every day you will find something that you can improve yourself. And then you can have the consistency. So for me, just a little bit about myself, how I get this mindset when I was 21. Because the thing is, when I went to Norway, the thing in my head is always very clear. It's all about working. It's all about working. I traveled 16,000 miles away from my home to a foreign land at 21 years old. The only thing for me is you need to do the best, and you need to bring back something that nobody has ever done it before. So, hard work every day. And this is what I want to share and inspire future generation, not only in my craft, but in every profession, to have these three things in mind. So, and being consistent, I went to Norway with zero drinking, no party, no nothing, work as much as possible, go back home, sleep, wake up the next day, continue the same process again. And, there's always a saying, after you're doing multiple times, you will be immune to it. You will be immune to it, and you will live a lifestyle like that, and that's where consistency comes. If you can be consistent for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, living a life like that, you will be achieving something different and be excel in different than others in the world.
And Matthew, allow me to ask something. Now, I know the journey was not easy. Have you met the day that, having a skills, I thought that, having a skill like would never put you in a place where, I give up, I should stop. Have you been through this?
I can tell you honestly, yes.
And you said, am I insane doing that? Should I stop? Have you had this question before in your mind?
Yes, I always, I can tell you, every human, we are all humans, Sometimes
Yeah.
you break down and stuff like that. But trust me, every day when I wake up the next day, I'm back to the same Mathew Leong again.
Amazing.
When I open the door, wear my shoe, you go out of the door, today is a brand new day, forget about yesterday, you need to be better than the previous day, actually.
And literally, I learned the lesson from you. Whenever you try the thing, when you're doing it again, it would never be the same. This is something really impressive, and it's the first time I think about it. Yes, maybe we can repeat some of the things, but it wouldn't be the same every time.
It wouldn't be the same.
How about your moment of like, I want to stop? How was that, Zubair, with you?
I can actually let me change the dynamic and tell you about a different Zubair. I don't think you know this Zubair, and it really builds on the point of consistency. So outside of running a social impact startup and doing a lot of educational activist related activities, I'm an endurance athlete. So I'm a runner. I'm a marathon runner. And when I was in Jeddah, I was in my final year of schooling, I met my running coach who said that he ran every day. He ran 3 kilometers every day. And this was Zubair, who couldn't run 800 meters without huffing and puffing and falling over. And I was so inspired by him saying, if he can do this every day as a human being, I should be able to do it. And so I'm going to mix together something professional and personal. So that day, back in 2015 or something like that, I decided that I wanted to follow the footsteps of this running coach and wanted to go out for a run every single day at a minimum of 3 kilometers, and it had to be outdoors. You guys know the weather in Jeddah in the summer, so it's a pretty intense commitment.
And tell me, it's in the sun?
In the sun, in every weather. And that started off in 2015, and alhamdulillah, in August of this year, I had done 8 years every single day of running.
Amazing.
From minimum 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, but then it went a lot more. I first ran my first half marathon in the King Abdulaziz Economic City. I then ran my first marathon in Cambridge, and every single day. So after a marathon, where after 42 kilometers, I will go for a run the next day. I swim in open water, in the rivers, in the sea. I do long distance cycling. I'm working towards an Ironman. And then you think about, like I'm telling you all of these things, and for the last 20 minutes of me sharing my story, I've been talking about education and the importance of that. Now I'm telling you that for a big chunk of my day, I'm outdoors running in every weather condition, from -7 in the middle of Finland to 47 in the summer of Saudi. What does that mean for Zubair? Why does he still do that? But I think this is just a kind of the importance of both personal well-being. Running is my antidote. It's my grounding mechanism. It helps me in this uncertain time as an entrepreneur to find something that I can do and expel my physical and mental stresses that come up during the day. And it's also about consistency. I've been doing it every day. It's not even, it's like brushing my teeth. I know that I'm going to run. It's just about when that's going to happen. Sometimes it's running at midnight because I need to catch a flight the next day, so I'll run midnight and I'll catch an overnight flight. Sometimes it's running during Ramadan after 18 hours of fasting, no food, no water. You're out on the ground again. But I think the important factor and piece I want to share is not just to say that I'm a bit adrenaline junkie who's going out running every day. It's about the importance of consistency. And our society, alhamdulillah, has such a beautiful ingrained concept of consistency. If you're looking at our day-to-day lives, we have a consistent prayer schedule. We have Ramadan coming in and telling us and resetting us. We have our different kind of social kind of interactions, our Jum'ah prayers, our meetings with family and friends. We already have this culture that is talking about consistency throughout. So for me, my well-being and my kind of resilience is actually fostered through my physical and well-being activities such as running, but my faith and the society and the culture that I've grown up with, and keeping that as a very, very important part of me. So when you talk about the kind of going abroad and being in Norway and having so many distractions, but choosing to go into work every day, the first to come to work and the last to leave, that is just the most beautiful and most best of exemplification of consistency and hard work. And we all have the opportunity to do that, and we have, alhamdulillah, a system which allows us to do that. So I think it doesn't happen overnight, and the first 3, 4, 5 years, Znotes was nothing, and I didn't know it was going to be something, but that kind of consistent habit was coming in, and an important kind of factor, and the fact that I could still do this is these kind of ancillary things which made me a more resilient human being, not just in my work, but in my personal life as well.
Again, it shows like if you weren't for it, you will never be into it. May it be a very tough condition that you can't bear, but you are there so you can bear it, because we know that Allah is adil and He's fair to us, and He gave us all the capabilities, but sometimes we need to like have the journey, internal
Introspection.
journey, and find the strong points that
Yeah.
literally, and you never know. You're all here. Maybe you are going to receive a universal call. There's a call for you. Just look within the strength within you rather than finding it out or trying to find the support outside. So back to our doctor here. What was the biggest challenge that you said, I should give up? Have you done that?
Oh, so many times.
Okay, good to
So-
know. Good
so
to
many
know.
times. Yeah. I think the most prominent one that comes to mind was, so I didn't start on Rashash. I didn't start at that point. I started doing everything I could do on a film set just to be on a film set. So I would be on these foreign productions. I'd be assistant sound, I'd be assistant location manager, just so I can be in front of the people that were doing those films. So it was, you have the cultural reservations in the back of your mind, and oh, I used to be the head of an ER, and now suddenly I'm sleeping in my car in Al-Ula because I need to wake up and make sure that the location is clean. That was my job. There was a film that the Russo brothers did in Al-Ula called Cherry, and I was an assistant location manager on that, and my sole job was to make sure that the set was clean. So my mom doesn't know that. She's knowing that now. My mom
sorry,
thinks I
Mom,
was
but he's
location
doing-
manager.
He was
I
doing
wasn't,
good
but
thing.
that's what I was doing. So a lot of the time I felt إنه زي ما احنا نقول إيش الله حوجني, that I do this. But a lot of people have this idea that working in the entertainment field or working in the film industry is this, oh, you're going to go for a couple of months and you're going to shoot and you're going to have fun with your friends. It's going to be the most relaxing time in the world, and then you're going to come back, because they only see the end product. But to get to that end product, and I worked in ERs, I've had 36-hour shifts, but I can tell you nothing is more emotionally harrowing than doing something that is both physically demanding and emotionally demanding, because no matter when you show up to work, no matter how tired you are, no matter how bad things are at home, you're still going to go, and then when that camera is on, you have to give everything to it. So there were so many times where I was just very emotionally depleted, or I was very physically depleted, where I thought, no, this is it, I can't do it. But then you see the product on the screen, or be it in the theater or on TV, and you see the reactions to it, and you see how this is something that people treasure. They treasure that end product, and it makes you appreciate the journey more and more. And you never, like you said, it's never the same thing twice. You learn something new about yourself. And
Correct.
what people tend to not say is that chasing dreams is boring and it's difficult. People think that chasing dreams is this magical experience, and people always say very dismissive things where at least you're doing what you love. Great, but that doesn't mean that what you love is not exhausting. It doesn't mean that it's not tiring. And a lot of the time, it's hard work, it's boring, it's discipline, it's running in the rain.
Frustrating.
So it's
Sometimes.
frustrating, yes, because
Sometimes.
you're very emotionally invested in it,
Yeah.
aside from a 9 to 5 that's just like labor intensive, and I'm cool. And that's why when people compare medicine to the arts, medicine for me, as difficult as it was, and as much as I loved it, it was a very physical labor. I knew what I was doing, I was very programmed to do it, and I would go home and it was done. But here, if I'm directing a film, then I have to worry about tomorrow's schedule and the day after tomorrow and what could happen. Oh, this actor is being a diva, this department's not working. It's so many things, and then you have to take a time out, take a deep breath so you don't kill anybody, and then go back into it and just
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
give your 110%. But yes, I would argue that wanting to give up is part of the process. I would say that if you don't want to give up, then maybe you're not working hard enough.
Again, this emphasizes a quote in our holy book that says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما أتاها. God will give you all the skills, all the tools, all the power and the energy, and He will put you in a condition. Just you need to learn and find out what kind of tools that I can use, or skills, or I know يعني it's not easy, but I'm sure يعني everyone here has a message to do, or let's say something to deliver before moving from this life to another one. So I know everyone here, no matter how big their roles or small their roles, they are here for a certain purpose. So again, we will go back to the same thing, finding a goal, and don't overthink how I'm going to reach, just like try to learn within the process, and this is how to gain your skills and Okay, I'm going to allow our guests to have some time for questions, but before that, I have one final thing, or one final question that I want to hear from you guys. Now, most of Misk speaks the language or young people, youngster, new generation, future, and such a very dynamic, rapid changes happening globally, not only in Saudi Arabia. How can we, for me, I would say, I would advise my kids, for example, you need to be agile. You need to have your own courage. You need to have, no, I want to hear from you guys. If you're going to give an advice for a younger brother or sister who are going to start their career or even to start such skill or hobby like you did, guys, here. So what is the biggest advice that you will give to to our guests here, and you never know who would hear that, and to deliver their message in life, let's say. So we'll start with you, Doctor. What do you think?
I guess the biggest thing that helped me, so you say there are two types of people. Yeah, there are people who jump out of the plane with the parachute on, and then there are people who jump out of the plane and figure out how they're going to land.
Yeah.
I, at first, felt very confined to that first kind of person because I was told the best thing you can do is I had a straight trajectory.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish school, I'm going to go into medical school, master's, PhD. Sometimes life doesn't work that way. And when life doesn't work that way, you need to know how to adapt to it. So I feel the best thing you can do is, if an opportunity presents itself, you don't say no to it, and be flexible. You need to be flexible because a lot of the time, things are not going to work out the way you want it. You can have a goal, but the road to that goal is going to change exponentially. Just like you're going to change when that road changes, you are forced to change with it instead of, there's a saying in West Africa, better to run than curse the road. I'm not going to stay and curse the road for being difficult. أحسن لك, you run, you just go. And then you'll figure it out on the way. So for me, flexibility and the capacity to take a lot of punishment and understand that punishment is part of the process. It's how, زي ما يقول لك, as calm seas never made for skilled sailors. So this is just you going on your journey. And I'm not a fan of saying there are good decisions or bad decisions. There are decisions that you're going to make,
it's a journey,
and you stick to that decision. Every decision you have made, whether you perceive it as good or bad, is what brought you to this point now.
Exactly.
And khalas, it's going to happen over and over again, and you're going to learn from it over and over again. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to be flexible with those changes and to be adaptable to those changes.
So agility, I think it's the most important thing. And sometimes also to sit and say, I've done this and I'm repeating it and I have the same thing, the same mistake. So sometimes you need to step back and say, what's in it for me? What do I need to learn from such failure or something like that maybe? So yes, we need to be agile and aware as well maybe. How about you, Zubair? What do you think?
Sure. So I have a hidden objective when I'm speaking to a crowd of people, especially ones who've kind of spent so much time to be at this moment and being part of such an incredible summit. And my objective is to make you think about your social impact, each of you as individuals.
Yeah.
You are all change makers. You're all in positions of influence and power, and you all have the agency to do something. And after years of building Znotes in a very failure-ridden, unconventional, uncertain way, there are three things I've distilled down as key to being a social change maker. And it doesn't need to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't need to be running your own initiative or NGO. It could be within your corporate job. It could be as a small project. It could be as a family affair. It could be in so many different forms. But the three things are the following. Number one, identify a problem that deeply resonates with you. A social problem that doesn't doesn't burn inside you, if you don't have that burning desire to see it solved, I don't think you will have that resilience to go through those bad moments, those challenging moments. So find something which you feel like you want to see change in this world. It could be small. It could be like, my community does not get access to this service or this schooling ability or this food desert, whatever the social problem is. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be at a global scale, but it has to matter to you. Because if you have something which deeply burns inside you, you will make everything to make it happen. Number 2 is build a community. Bring people who care about that problem and bring them together and empower them and get them involved in that initiative. And I think Znotes would not be what it is today if I didn't have an incredible, incredible community behind it, from students and contributors to ambassadors, advisors, people and incredible mentors for me here at MISC, here and all over the world. Build a community of people who really, really care about that social problem and want to give back. And number 3, right as it says at the back, as you take the next step is doing it. There is no excuse nowadays of actually starting an initiative. We have 101 ways of saying, oh, maybe we need this, we need funding, we need an engineer, we need a tool, we need a platform developer, there is no excuse. I started Znotes with 100 Riyal from my dad to buy a domain, .org, and I used a free web blog, WordPress, and I used free tools. I used Google Drive. I used every free tool out there to build a technology platform which today has hundreds of thousands of registered users and is serving millions of students every year. So the starting point was not a full engineered solution. We didn't have our own technology, we didn't have engineers. However, you could start and build something so easily and so quickly. We have so many tools, and the internet and technology provides us the ability to scale and amplify our work at a profound way. So there is no excuse for that, and I would really, really encourage you, if there's something that's really burning inside you as a social problem you want to see solved, and you can see even 2 people around you who can hold you accountable and empower you and keep you aligned to that social problem, then start something. It could be within your job, it could be within your workplace, it could be outside in your social setting, it could be with friends, it could be as a solo project, it could be in so many different ways, but there's no excuse not to start, and that's what I'd like to share, and I'd like to see that as you walk away, inshallah, that you all take the next step.
And don't even simplify whatever gesture you can do. Even a very small smile to a person who's like, even a janitor, it will open a connection for you. Like one day I was like entering a place and I was smiling and saying, how are you, to this person in his language. And one person came and said, do you know how to speak their language? No, I just learned one word from each language to be human to them and just give them that smile. And this built a proper connection and network, because again, don't underestimate whatever impression or impact that you can, or investment that you can invest in humans' mind and souls. And also focus on generating not only the financial capital, the knowledge capital is very important, the network capital is very important. So it's when you start a business, when you start an impact, it's not only about, do I have the right money to do it? It's not only the money, it's those 2 also, the knowledge and the network. And going to you, Matthew, if you're going to deliver a message to a generation, and I'll be one of them, to see how to start a career like yours, okay? So,
Hello?
Matthew, your mic is working?
Mic?
Mic.
Nope.
It's not working?
Hello? Hello?
How would you start?
One second.
Can you hear us? Hassan, I'm very loud, huh?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, it's holding. Okay. Yes. So for me, to start off the career, is we may be walking in a different career, different path, and stuff. But for me personally, as an advice to the future generation to take the next step, maybe I would say it personally to what I experienced in my personal life is when you are young, you need to work have a goal. First of all, you need to be passionate in your job. You need to be passionate in what you do. You need to believe in, you think about 5, 10, 15, what is going to happen personally and professionally. And learn along the way and absorb all sorts of knowledge like a sponge. Because youth is actually is everything. You can actually learn as much as possible during the youth time,
and you never know when you're going to use that knowledge again. So when I was younger, I didn't think about money, I didn't think about anything. All I want is just knowledge, because knowledge is more than anything else around. It's more than money, actually, for me, because one day you will definitely use it. And always think further ahead, 5, 10, 15, and always have a very strong mentality with the 3 things that I share. With the determination, the discipline, and the consistency, and have a very strong, for me, it's all about the mindset, and always believe we will make things happen. If you want to make things happen, you would definitely do it because of the goal that's in front of you.
Again, I would say that also trust your skills and focus on them and how you, let's say, invest in your own skills and build the proper strength point within, right?
Exactly, it's you need to, to master a craft, to master something. It's not 1 day, 2 days,
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
5 years for me is the minimum. 10 years is not enough.
So let's have patience, right?
Patience, consistency,
Consistency, yes.
every single day.
Amazing.
And the discipline for yourself. And trust me, the next step, you can, because once you have this and you plan for your future, you already know what is the next step ahead of you, because you are ahead in 15 years plan. So once you cross the 5, you think about the next 5. And then you will always be on the right track.
Amazing. So having our 3 tracks, amazing, impressive, let's say, impact creator, the skill, the education, and the culture. We're opening the door for any questions if you want to ask any of our guests here. Can we have the mic, please, for the yes, please. Welcome, Mansour.
Hi, thank you. This is Mansour Al-Sanoni. I'm so happy to hear all of your insights. What drives you? Is it passion or opportunity? What comes first? Thank you.
And you want this question?
For all of it.
Okay. Is it passion or opportunity?
I would say that passion is for me at least it's the foundation, but passion is also like it's a very hot emotion, so it ebbs and flows a lot. Sometimes it becomes very routine, but that doesn't mean that you're less passionate about it. It just means that right now you've become passive to your own passion. So opportunity is the chance to ignite that passion again for me. So that's why I would say be flexible and don't say no, even if it's something you don't think is necessarily something you can do. When I auditioned for Kandahar, initially Kandahar was a film that was shot in Al-Ula with Gerard Butler and with like an international cast. And when I was asked to audition, initially I was asked to audition in English and then in Arabic, and then they didn't call me after that, so I lost sort of the steam for it. And then they called me like, can you do it in Pashto, the Afghani language? And then I was like,
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so brave.
But only because this opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
And then I remembered why I loved this business so much was because you never know what's going to happen when. So I said yes. And then in my mind, my passion fueled under me. Okay, learn Pashto. How are we going to learn Pashto? Yalla, we have to learn Pashto in a day so we can audition in Pashto. And then I went to a Bukhari place. There was the guy who worked at the Bukhari place spoke the Pashto. I gave him the paper. I'm like, can you read this? And he's like, yes. 5 minutes later, this guy is standing in the middle of a Bukhari restaurant holding the phone to me and he's directing me. He's like, Shamalet al-Valater. And I'm like, and he's actually like telling me,
giving the accent.
No, Shamalet al-Valater.
With the accent, right?
With the accent, yes.
Okay.
So suddenly I found myself 2 months later, I'm on a set with Gerard Butler, and I'm speaking Pashto on a film, and like, I didn't think that this was going to happen, but if I said no, if my passion didn't push me enough to want to say no, in my mind, worst case scenario, they're going to be like, this guy can't do it, fire him. Alas. But what I guess the short of it is what I'm trying to say is passion will ebb and flow, it will come and it will go, and it'll feel like sometimes it's non-existent, but opportunity is what is that spark that can ignite it again and remind you why you started. A lot of people they say, remember why you started, even when you it's when you reach those little hopeless junctions in your road, and then you're like,
The peaks and
okay,
troughs.
remember, it's remember why you started. Yeah. So I guess
So,
opportunity reminds me why I started.
So the answer to your mom, that passion took him from the medical field.
No, you know what I'm going to use now with my mom? I'm going to tell her I'm a thought leader now. Because that's what you guys are saying, like the thought leader. But khalas, I'm not
You are, mashallah.
just as good as doctor. It's just as good as doctor.
How about you, Matthew? Was it passion or opportunity?
For me, it's passion. Passion first.
Passion
Because
first.
you need to be passionate in your job first, and then you will do excellence, and then you will hit excellence. And when you hit excellence, the opportunity will come. So
Yeah.
like he just said, I will never say no to any opportunity. I will grab it, and then even if I cannot do it, I will find a way to do it.
Yeah. And actually, when I see your story, when you said that it was like a question was asked who was going to participate, and you just took the opportunity there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need to seize the opportunity when it's there, and don't wait for opportunity to come to you, because in life things don't come to you so easily.
Yeah.
To find the opportunity, using your passion to actually look for the opportunity for the future. And this is what I believe.
Exactly. And the same question, and we'll make it to have
Well,
another
next
question.
inshallah. Yeah. Can I answer with a different word? If I choose not passion or opportunity, I'll say purpose. I think purpose is the underlying thing that drives me, and is everything that I've shared in my story today as well. Is this deep desire to see a change in a certain way, and that kind of combines with my purpose, my passion, and my mission, and that's where I choose to do the things that come my way. As Matthew said, opportunities will come your way, and as you kind of develop and grow, people will ask you for speaking engagements or projects, or distractions will also come. But you kind of go back to your purpose. If that purpose is aligned to that opportunity, then go ahead. But I think that as things progress, there will also be moments where you'll have to say no. And I'm actually struggling, Dr. Hakeem, in saying no, because I've been that person who said yes to every single thing that came my way. And now I'm trying to see, I need to discern that at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours in a day, and we need to be able to choose the things which are most scalable, impactful, and aligned to our purpose.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Do we have another question? Okay.
Hi, Dalal.
Yes, we'll try to have a short answer.
I'd like to thank you all for your inspiring stories. My question is for Dr. Jomah. So I have to say this is very brave to leave a well-established, highly respected career and move on to something else, the jump without the parachute. My question to you, what was the moment that triggered that change? Is it something you've always wanted to do and just thought it's time to
I can tell you the exact moment where before I thought that I could do both at the same time. I thought, because there wasn't really an industry at the time, so it was very easy for me to do my shifts and then go do my shoots. But as Vision 2030 started, it was when I heard from a friend that they were going to shoot Rashash. They were going to shoot that show. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't believe that we were about to take that step and we were going to shoot something so controversial, but I knew was going to be so impactful. And I was like, there is no way that that's going to happen without me on it. And I used every friend of a friend of a friend that I knew just to get to that point. And I just wanted to do anything on that show, anything. And then, alhamdulillah, I ended up being one of the leads on that show. But once I got the call that you are going to be on this show as this character, and you are going to be shooting for 4 months, and you're going to get paid, not a great amount of money, but you're going to get paid to do this, but it's going to be abroad. So you're going to have to leave work. Like you have to take off from work. So then that's when sort of the idea formed in my mind where this is not just about this show, it's about creating that impact.
And I think you sense it internally, you sense it in your heart that this
I
is the
sensed
way?
it because it was something I wanted to see.
Yeah.
It was something Ana Saudi I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And then that's when the idea of the cinematic identity, the Saudi cinematic identity formed. And that's when I said, like, khalas, you have tamkeen min al-hukuma. The government is really encouraging this to happen. Maybe not in those exact terms, like a Saudi cinematic identity. But as soon as my purpose sort of shifted, when I was in medicine, I didn't really have a purpose. I was doing my job. I was like, it was a job for me. Yes, it was a noble job, but it was still a job for me. But this felt like I felt a rush where, no, this is the chance to do something bigger. This is the chance to be part of your country's history and the direction that it's going in. So, صليت استخارة. I put my family قدام الأمر الواقع that this is going to happen. You're still going to be provided for. The money's just going to come from a different place. And yeah, I just took the jump and I haven't looked back since, wallah.
Amazing. The good thing is the Crown Prince, Emir Mohammed bin Salman, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, literally he once said that the young generation, youngster were, in the past they were half of the generation, and today they are the future, the 100% of the future. And also, he's the person who literally opened all doors. And today, Saudi Arabia is in a golden era. Saudi Arabia today is the benchmark. I was lucky to be among the first, in the first transformation program. I was there back in 2015, and it was like saying, can we do that? And we were asking a lot of people, international, how did the transformation program worked with you guys? And they said, well, we achieved around 30%, 60%, 70%, and it's not easy to transform a culture. And I was like literally monitoring a lot of ministries, and I was saying, when are we going to see what's happening on the paper or what's written here on the ground? I swear to God, within 3 years, I saw it. I saw it. And the Crown Prince came to us back then in that workshops, and he said, guys, you are, as Saudis or as a nation, creating history, and we saw it. So today, Saudi Arabia is creating history. MISC is a platform for the new future of the generation, and all of us, again, creating another new era, culture, history, future. What we have learned today, that we need to be agile, we need to be courage enough to take a step in a new zone, and literally all the key stakeholders are very supportive to enhance the ecosystem to do such a change. And they want to hear from you guys because you are much creative. Like, I'm from another generation, but today our youngsters are so passionate and impressive in their way of thinking. So literally, I encourage everyone here to open and listen for the young generation and enjoy the journey of creating a new history and a new future, a dynamic and agile and so creative. I really, really feel humbled to be among you guys and creating such an impact. And maybe, I hope we manage to meet the expectation, but literally, thank you so much for being with us here and sharing your experiences.
Thank you. Allah يسعدكم. يعطيكم العافية جميعا.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for your attendance, everyone. Thank you so much.